We are doing great. We are doing great. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Hi, hello, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Karina and it's so lovely to have you here. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about the subject that I'm realizing I have to be on top of every single day now. Not that I didn't have to be before, but now it's a whole new level of productivity that needs to be happening. So we're going to talk about productivity and tips for productivity, especially if you're in school, and especially if you are in school while trying to manage some sort of a work situation while also just attempting to have a life. Life, honestly, is the lowest priority at the moment as far as activities go and things. However, we are in the season of September, October, which is the best season because it is Halloween and we love Halloween. And there are so many things happening that I want to do, and there are conventions and there are festivals and there are concerts and there are Beetlejuice experience and all sorts of things that I am trying to make happen while being on top of schoolwork, while getting some work done, while looking for another job. It's just, we are doing great. We are doing great. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah. So 5 things. I will never do that again. 5 things that can help you with your productivity and that I've been trying to utilize. I'm saying trying because it is not 100-proof plan per se. It's been helping me. It could help you. If it doesn't, that's totally fine. All of us operate in different ways, and it doesn't necessarily one size fit all. So if it doesn't, work for you, don't be discouraged. You just need a different system. This is the system that works for my squirrel distracted ADHD brain, and so far that is what I have. So tip number 1, write everything down. I could not be more serious about that one. That one is probably the biggest one, just to be on track and be aware of all the things that you need to be doing. And with multiple classes, I'm taking 5 classes right now, and with all the classes having different things that need to be done and all the different projects and all the different parts of the project, I have to write it down. It doesn't have to be in the planner, although if you're looking for a planner, this is not sponsored. I've been using this planner for 3 years. This is Passion Planner with my little Brad sticker on it, because why wouldn't I? It matches my hair too. I did not realize that until right this second. But Passion Planner has the layout of the week. Let me see if I have an empty week. There we go, because I did not use it religiously this year. But it has all the days broken down by hours, and I love that. I need that kind of a breakdown, and it's been my favorite planner since year 2020 or 2021, and I've been using it ever since. But if you don't need a paper source necessarily, and you are completely fine with using digital, we have GoodNotes, we have, what is the name of it? We have Notion, we have just the Notes app that actually can do so much more than you think it can do if you organize it correctly. I do not have it organized correctly. I've just seen what you can do with it, and it's mind-boggling. And you have options for digital recording of things. So you can just decide on, you know, the way you want to document everything and just kind of break it down. And for me, I just break it down by the class that I'm taking and then by the outside things that need to be done, then followed by personal things that need to be done. So it is categories of categories of categories of categories. And that is the only reason why I am staying on top of things. And staying on top of things is a strong word. I'm attempting. I am trying. It is not perfect. It is very far from perfect. However, you know, we're doing our best. I would say I'm at 85% of doing everything that has to be done, with mild deprioritization of things that can be pushed, if that makes sense. Because we all have the tasks that I could do this later, and until those tasks move into the category of do it right this fucking second, they're gonna be moved back. It's okay. It's fine. That is completely okay, as long as you're making sure you're getting everything that needs to be done. Cheers. Okie dokie. Tip number 2, prioritizing projects that need to happen first. So kind of mentioned that, but we're gonna transition it a little bit more for school setting, and that is making sure you know your deadlines, making sure where things are due, and focusing on those first before you do anything else. And I want to do another video on some books on productivity that I am enjoying, and Essentialism is one of the recent ones that I've read. But the concept is making sure that you are focused on the things that are a dire priority and dire need. That is not always the case with classes. With classes, you just have to do things. That's just what school is. You are assigned things and you have to do them. However, anything outside of that can be, you know, prioritized and that needs to be prioritized, you have flexibility with. So definitely keep the tally of, you know, what needs to come after what, and which projects will take you longer, which projects will require you to input more time into them, because you might have 2 deadlines for the same sort of, you might have the same deadline for different projects, but one of those is going to take you 15 hours and another one is going to take you 2. Maybe. And that's up to you. Again, whichever way it works better. Maybe you want to knock out the 2-hour project and just be done with it. That's perfectly fine. I personally would focus on, you know, the elephant in the room and try to put all of my time and attention to the bigger one and then see what happens. So yeah, prioritizing projects in the order that they need to be submitted and done and finished. All of that. Tip number 3, and that one is, I think that one might be more ADHD. I don't think it's inherently ADHD, but for my brain, that one works really, really well, is breaking down big projects into smaller ones. So I get overwhelmed so fucking easily, and it's so hard to kind of get past that. So when I see a big project, in the previous video I talked about having to do the portfolio, which includes 6 different projects that are all a part of that. So when it comes to large projects, I have to break it down into smaller ones, and not just, oh, I need the website and I need, you know, my photography portfolio, or I need videos and merch and whatever, that is great. So first you break down your big project into those categories, and then you take those categories and you keep breaking them down. So say on the example of the website, so the website needs a logo, the website needs some assets, it needs pictures, it needs probably not videos, but it needs me to write some things, it needs a font so the font stays cohesive throughout the whole website, it needs, connection to social media, like breaking it down as much as physically possible. So then when you're going through that task and you're knocking things off of it, it's an endorphins boost and it feels nice. Even though you did a fraction of the bigger thing, it just feels nice to check things off the list. And that provides you opportunity to do that. And yeah, just making sure you know your deadlines, you're breaking things down into smaller pieces, and then you're just going one by one and knocking them out. And that way it's not, oh my god, I need to make this big thing. It is, I can do 2 things, 3 things, 5 things for this big thing that will get me closer to finishing this big thing. And that's really the main thing that you can do. Tip number 4, schedule things in your planner and do them when you schedule them for. And that's a hard one. That one is a lot, because in the end of the day, you can be like, well, right now I'm feeling like doing another thing, but I had this scheduled, but I can do and focus on this other thing, and I'll do that thing that I scheduled to do later. That's great. The chances of you getting to the scheduled thing are decreasing rapidly and exponentially. And this one is a hard one. I struggle with it. I attempt to do it as much as physically possible. And even with this video, I was supposed to record it yesterday, and I had my brain had no braining activity happening as far as videos went, and here we are doing it early morning and just getting it done before the deadline. But in a perfect world, having things scheduled can be so helpful, and it's not easy, and I'm not gonna pretend that it's easy, and I'm also not gonna pretend that it's gonna work every single time. But first of all, if you schedule and you put it in your planner, you know exactly what is on that planner. And if you look at it and you look at the weekly view and you for some reason decided to do something else instead, or do you prioritize, or you decided to do it the following day, you know exactly the things that need to be done that week. So even if you end up moving things around, you have the visual representation of the things that need to be done, and that is crucial. And that is beneficial in the end of the day regardless. So aiming to do things when you schedule them, but being able to look at your schedule and know the important things that need to be done, and move and shift things around while keeping the priorities on where they're supposed to be and making sure that they get done. I think that's the biggest thing, because just breaking down projects and just writing down the things that you need to do, they are in the ether. They're not on your agenda per se. So while both are, breaking them down is really important, having them scheduled out is the next step to get you to be on top of it. So that was my tip number 4. Tip number 5, the last one, and that one is specifically for school-related activities. However, it can be used on life-related activities any sort of, life situation and such. Don't be shy to use your professors and ask them for help. They are there as a resource for you. The way that transfers into real life is don't be shy to ask a friend, someone you know in the industry that you're trying. Don't be shy. And that translates into don't be shy to ask a friend, someone that you know in the same work sphere that you're trying to get into, someone who could potentially be a mentor, someone that you've met but you haven't checked in with, and you now feel bad checking in with that person because it's been too long. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. That is literally the worst thing. But it took me years, and I will still struggle with it, but I've gotten significantly better at it. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is not a sign of you not being good enough. It's actually the sign of you understanding what capacity you have, what bandwidth you have. You might have the capacity, but you just don't have the bandwidth for a certain thing at the moment, and that is totally okay. So understanding where you at and using and asking people that are around you, that are your friends, that are there to help, professors that are literally getting paid to teach you things, and going to them and asking them to be a resource for you. And that is totally okay. That's why they have office hours. That's why they have designated times for people to come and ask questions. And that's just such an important thing that I feel like when I was, just first starting in college, I was just like, no, I'm just too scared and too shy, and I can do everything by myself, and I can figure it out. And sometimes you don't have to figure it out by yourself, or you just don't have time to figure it out by yourself. If you're doing school and work and life all together, yes, use the resources that are there for you. Be proactive. Ask your friends to help. Chances are they will. And that's coming from personal experience of me not asking my friends for help for a very, 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 very long time, and then finding out that they were there available for me and willing to come and help out at almost any given moment. And that was just wild to me. So yeah, ask the people around you to support you, so then you don't have to necessarily put all of the efforts trying to figure it out, but put efforts into doing the thing that you're supposed to do. And when you have the time to just do the thing, you've got the resources, guess what? The doing part will be so much more streamlined and faster and smoother than it would have been otherwise. So it's a win-win. You're putting the time to talk to people, and yes, that is eating away of your general available time, but it's significantly less time than you just sitting down and trying to figure something that you don't necessarily maybe understand, and having that other person explain it to you and help you with it and streamline it for you in your brain and just make it easy and digestible and straight take you to the point of where you are taking actions rather than sitting down and figuring something out. And that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest difference in my opinion. So yeah, don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think that that's a sign of I'm not strong enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not whatever enough. It's not. It makes you stronger. The fact that you understand what your capabilities are in that particular moment, and you are doing a vulnerable thing, in the end of the day, it is vulnerable to ask someone for help. It is. And it's scary. But the worst thing that can happen, literally the worst thing that can happen, is they say no. That's it. That's the worst. And if they say no, you go back to the regular scheduled programming where you were gonna work on that on your own anyways. So might as well check in and see if you can get any support or help. And if not, you go and figure it out. And if you do, great. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. You have the resources to not have to do that. And that is freaking awesome. And that was tip number 5. And that's all I had in store for you today. However, we have one bonus tip. And the bonus tip, especially with school, because school is a very interesting time of life where it's not real life, but it's not real life at the same time. It's very strange. It's kind of, the mirror dimension, one might say. But have fun. Bonus tip, have fun. Enjoy it. Enjoy the projects. This is the time and this is the environment where you can just completely, majorly fuck shit up, and there's no real life consequences that can come out of it, because it is learning and you are figuring things out as you go, and you may have not know certain things yet, or you may have not done certain things yet, and you're just figuring it out. That's what school is for. So you can fail and you can, just mess up, but enjoy what you're doing and just have a blast with it. Have a lovely time with it, because those moments are not to say allowed. You can still mess up things in real world, but there is so much more grace when it comes to school, because that is you learning. And when you learn, you make mistakes, and when you learn, you mess things up, and when you learn, you do things that you never thought you could do because you've never done them before. So enjoy it and have a blast with it, and just have fun. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for coming and checking it out. I appreciate y'all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Is so helpful, and it doesn't mean that it needs to be 100% on top of, making things, doing things, attempting things. Jesus Christ. Okay. Scheduling things. I'm gonna do this again, because I don't know what's happening with my hair. Hair, beautiful hair. I get overwhelmed so easily. My anxiety keeps inside of me. Talks about doing notes, and then does not have her notes prepared. Seems counterintuitive. I love my backdrop so much. It's so sick. Anyway,